Back-to-back conference losses for the Hogs to start the season. How concerned should you be? We talk with Coach Z and Ernie next on the Hog Central Podcast.
This is the Hog Central Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to this snow edition of the Hog Central Podcast. It's a pleasure to be alongside the walk-on wonder from Wabaseka, Ernie Murry, and Mr. Razorback Sports, who's waiting for the snow up there in Northwest Arkansas. Coach Z, hey, they're 0-2, and it's been ugly. Talk us off the ledge here. I know it's early.
I'd rather talk about some beautiful snow. Can we talk about snow? I don't want to talk about 0-2 something. That's negative.
Yeah.
But, it is not what we thought it was going to be right now. I think at the worst, you were hoping you'd be 1-1. Give Ole Miss credit, though. You know what? They were tough. They came in, they battled, they fought. We had such a great start, too. And you think you're in a good place. But Ole Miss, I'll say that I was talking to Sully last night after the game on the phone, Ernie, and at halftime when it was 33-33, we were kind of a little bit, I think, maybe a little surprised, the fans or everybody. They ran off the floor. Chris Beard ran across the floor. He was so excited. He was happy. I think that he was like, my goodness, we were getting beat pretty good. Here we are tied 33-33. We just withstood Arkansas's blow. We're going to win this game.
And I agree with you totally. What I watched and witnessed was every time we had an easy basket, Ole Miss fouled. And when Ole Miss had easy baskets, we didn't foul. That's Chris Beard's game, Sully. He's going to play physical.
That's interesting.
He's going to play physical basketball, limit your breaks, and not give you easy buckets. And I thought last night, and I'm going to say this on the air, we're not really getting anything from our bigs. I mean, Adu, Brazil, Big Z, Trevor Brazil. I wish he would define what his role is. I mean, I don't know where he's at in the mix of things right now.
It happens every preseason where the coaches get excited about what he's done in the offseason, and it never seems to come to fruition on the court. I mean, I hardly noticed him last night, Z.
Ernie, those are really good. I didn't think about the foul part. Like, we're not going to give you anything easy. We're going to make you go to the line. And I know that's something, Nolan Richardson preached that to you all the time. We're not going to give them anything easy. If you get beat, we're going to hammer them.
You're going to hammer
them. But, yeah, I think that Trevin's one of about 4 guys right now that we got to get a little bit more from. And whether it's them knowing their role better, them there being greater expectations for them. And I know Coach wants them to play well. Staff, they want them to do great. But those guys have to be fully dialed in everything. And I think that goes for Billy. I think that goes for Zavonimir. I think that goes for Carter. And I think that goes for Trevin Brazil.
How about this stat? Offensively, they've been ineffective in both games. 46% of their shots in conference play have been three-point shots.
I was going to talk about that.
And this is not a good three-point shooting team. And I feel bad for Boogie Fland because there's no option down low offensively. Unless Z is in, he presents somewhat of an offensive option. So you end up pitching it around and who has the best shot, and Boogie has the best opportunity to create a shot, and he ends up going 5 for 20. And you don't say, and I don't look at him and say he took a bunch of wild shots. He just took the best shot available at that time and ended up with 20 shots.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of times he's shooting the basketball with 5 seconds on the shot clock, which is not a great shot, but he's trying to at least get an attempt up. This basketball team has, I think we got a lot of potentials, but right now I just don't think we're getting anything from inside, so you just guard the perimeter.
I talked to Z last night, and one thing he pointed out that by far, when you look man for man, Arkansas was a more talented team last night.
Yeah, you felt like that maybe we were. I thought we had more talent than them going into the game. Now, some Ole Miss's guys surprised me, especially Malik Dia, who played at Vandy and very seldom played. He was a freshman.
He was only averaging 7 points going into the game.
Averaging 7, Ernie, and he gets 21 and 8. He goes 7 for 12. He makes 2 3-pointers.
Wow.
He went to Belmont for a year, got to play a lot, kind of got his game figured out. But when I saw him on the scout, I was looking at him, he thought, this is a good player. This is a guy that they're getting something from. It. You didn't think this is the guy.
No, no, he don't look like it.
You want one of Arkansas's big guys to put their handprint on a game that you say, boy, Adu was good tonight, or Brazil was good tonight, or Big Z. And last night it was just, all the shots you know came from your guards, and you don't want to have to have your two guards, Wagner and Boogie, shoot like 1 for 13 from 3-point.
Yeah.
You take a guy like a Trevin Brazil. I think he played 13 minutes last night. He shot the ball one time.
Yeah.
Got that's unbelievable to me. And Trevin is a good basketball player when he plays, but when he can play, he's average.
Yeah. I'm not correct. He did. He shot one shot. He was 1 for 1. He played 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How does a guy play that much and shoot the ball one time? And we got to get more distributed. The ball needs to be distributed a little bit more. I think I don't mind Boogie shooting 20, because it looks good. But
the reality, I think teams are saying they look at Arkansas, they see the athletes, they're ranked 15th, I think, in the country in fast break points. They're going to take the fast break away from you. Ole Miss hardly went to the offensive glass. They backed up, and we had 4 fast break points. And when you can limit Arkansas, I don't think Boogie was designed to play in a half-court offense.
No, he's 94 feet.
And I'm kind of surprised that we haven't tried to speed up the tempo and get this game up and down a little. Look at the way Memphis beat Ole Miss. They beat them 87-70. They got them running. And I just think if you let someone come into your building and dictate the tempo, you've got problems. I mean, that's something when you come in and play.
They dictated the tempo.
They did.
Yeah.
They dictated it about the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was our pace.
Yeah.
And then the last 30 minutes, it was what Ole Miss. And Coach Cal said that on our post-game radio, Sully. He said, that's what I want to be. I want to have the lead at the end.
Yeah.
I want to be up 10, 12 points. I want to grind out the clock. I want to run a set play at the end of the shot clock. That's what we're used to being. We're not used to the one being behind like that. So I think it was I like some of his comments, though, where he said, I'm disciplined, but I'm not. We got a good team and we're going to be okay. He's really positive with the guys. He's positive, which at this point you need to be. You got 16 league games left. So much can still happen. Yeah.
Hey, one thing you haven't seen with this team, and when you don't hit shots, it's hard to put together runs. And, in both second halves, against Tennessee and last night, they are one shot away from getting some momentum, and they can't hit that shot. And when you're not hitting shots, it's hard to play.
And I hate to say this, when the ball goes in the hole, everybody looks good. When the ball not going in the hole, it shows really the deficiencies in your basketball team. I like this basketball team, but what I'm worried about right now is who is the leader. And do they know how to win right now in the SEC? That's the big question. Who is the leader of this basketball team?
I'm a little concerned that, Boogie has such a heavy load.
Oh, my.
And, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's got that hanging over his head. And, and he doesn't want to shoot 20 shots.
No.
And there was one play last night that really irritated me. Boogie is a high-level driver. He drove baseline. He went by his guy, went high. The guy had good vertical defense. That's 2 men, maybe 3 men on him, and there's no offside rebounder. And I think you're just missing an opportunity when your guards get to the hoop. The only one who hit the offensive board last night was Thero.
Right.
A lot of times he's rebounded his own misses. That guy's fearless.
Yeah, he plays hard.
He had 4 offensive rebounds.
Yeah. And, they was talking in the game, the announcers were, and they just kept saying, when is Arkansas going to make a run this second half?
Yeah.
And like Sully said, every time we would get close to a run, something would happen.
Yeah.
We would throw the ball away or shoot a bad shot. It's going to be interesting to see this basketball team. They got to go back and look at what do we do good all night, and we got to go.
Hey, what do they do? What have they done well the last couple of games? Not much.
Not much.
They're not shooting free throws, not shooting 3-pointers, not rebounding, and now you got a Florida team coming in that's ranked number 1 in the country in rebounding. You talked about 40 being a rebound number that you like as a team. They're averaging 45 rebounds a game.
Wow.
And so they're going to come in and see a wounded Arkansas team. And the one plus with Florida, they're not a great defensive team. Well, they were against Tennessee. But you should get up and down the floor against Florida.
should be able to push it, get in transition, because Florida's not going to play as slow as Ole Miss. They're going to play a lot faster. They're going to fast break themselves. We can't shoot 37% again. Both these games in the league, shoot 37%. That's not good enough. And we've got to get more than 22 made baskets. That's not enough in a 40-minute game. But where we're really going to have to beat these guys, to me, Ernie, is we're at home in a 40-minute game, our SEC opener, and we have 2 steals.
Wow.
And it's not all about steals. Coach Ursa's teams, it was steal a lot. It's not all about, you can play great defense, never steal the ball. But it also shows you usually going to have more than 2 steals if you're getting after people. Right? If you're really defending hard. Here's another thing. DJ, who's given everything he's got, he plays very hard, but he played 38 minutes and 49 seconds. So almost 39.
Didn't get a rebound.
Minutes. Yeah, and he has 2 rebounds, but he didn't have an assist, which he's capable. He's shown ability to have 3 or 4 assists in a game. Some of that goes to his teammates and hit some shots, but he also only had 2 fouls.
Wow.
39 minutes. Ernie Murray played 39
Oh,
minutes.
my goodness. I'm have more than 2 fouls.
He had 14 fouls.
14 fouls. But you know what I've noticed about DJ, and I like him as a basketball player, but I've noticed lately he's running away from the ball. Boogie looked like he's playing more of the point guard role to me. And early in the year, DJ was our main focus with the basketball. Now Boogie is looked like running the point. So I guess they may have switched the roles up. But a guy that plays 39 minutes, a guard.
Well, that's a great point, Z.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. He's got to give us more on the defensive end and the offense. I think this team has got to play good. If you're not scoring, you can't allow the other team to score.
Hey, one guy I like his energy, even though he hasn't done much production-wise, is Billy Richmond.
I mean,
he is long, he's athletic, and he's active.
Yes.
I'd almost like to see him start in a game, just defensively when they got after people. Just like you mentioned, Z, let's guard people a little tighter. We haven't made either one. When you were in Bud Walton with that crowd and your athleticism, you should make that other team feel uncomfortable. And I never felt last night that we made Ole Miss feel uncomfortable, where they were looking for a pass and couldn't find anyone. They seemed to find
just a couple times when we pressed. In the second half, we pressed a couple times.
But
Billy did that.
Yeah.
Billy caused some problems for them.
Billy is athletic and he's got a motor. And, I think they need some spark like that. They need to get after people, especially in that arena. They need to get after people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And look for Billy to have a bigger role. I think he'll play more than 7 minutes against the Gators. But we need that energy, his defense, his flying around. He's really good in transition. He's a high flyer. Carter's good in transition.
Yeah.
Carter's sneaky athletic.
Yeah, Carter had a great block last night.
Yeah.
Great block early in the ball game.
Yeah.
Tattooed it.
Yeah.
I mean, Carter's a guy that can do a lot. He's been hitting 1 or 2 threes now every game. He's still starting. He started 4 games in a row. But we do need a lot out of those 2 freshmen because they can play carefree. Yeah. They can be, the pressure is not on them.
No.
Just go out and get after it.
Yeah, and another young man I would like to see get a little bit more time is Big Z.
Yeah, he hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's unhealthy, but he plays hard. I mean, if he gets healthy and gets going, Trevor Brazile we need him to play.
Well, he presents an offensive threat. He's an active screener at the top of the key. I think he understands the game. He pops out. He had a good open 3 from the corner last night, and he's a good shooter. Just needs that first one to drop. But he gives you some offensive threat that you're not getting right now from Adu or Brazile.
No. I don't know. I was waiting. I've been waiting on Adu to live up to the billings of the Tennessee year. Yeah. I don't know where that it is. I don't know if he's trying to learn Coach Cal's system. But when your bigs play that much and they only getting 5 points and 3 points and 2 points, you're not going to win very many games. You're just not going to win. You got to have some presence inside.
Yeah, we thought at the beginning of the season those 3 combined would be a good presence inside for Arkansas, but they haven't been the first 2 games, Z.
No, hadn't played as well as you'd hope they would. Jonas, that was tough for him. They booed him hard every second he was out there in Knoxville. I felt for him. He played there 3 years, but he didn't play well. You kind of thought he would bounce back and have a really good game. I was talking to somebody on Wednesday before the game, and I thought Trevin being at home, that Trevin and the bigs would have a much better game, and they really didn't. Now, if you throw him in there with the other three bigs, he was outstanding. Adu Thero was great.
Yeah.
17 points. He went 7 of 12, just like Malik Dia went 7 of 12.
Had 9 rebounds.
Yeah. Just a tough, hard. And we only had 2 steals, right? He had both of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about it, Ernie. We had 8 guys that played the rest. There's 200 minutes in the game combined for your team.
That's correct.
So Adu Thero plays 28 minutes last night. So the rest of the team played 132 minutes. No, or 172 minutes. The rest of them played 172 minutes. And they didn't have a steal. Not one. Wow. One guy had 2 steals in 28 minutes. The rest of them didn't have a steal in 172 minutes, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How about the fact they mentioned several times bad offense can affect your defense.
Oh, no doubt.
Especially with young players. And they've played some bad offense in these first 2 games. Yeah. And I don't know.
Egger. Coach Scott Egger, who was the assistant at Arkansas, he was here when Ernie played. He would say, when I was coaching at UAB with him, he'd say, our offense is getting us in trouble on defense. Our offense is what's causing us problems.
Yeah, yes.
And sometimes, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case with this team right now, these losses, maybe, but offense 100% can affect your defense.
Yeah,
I agree. What needs to happen is they need to watch a little film, and if I'm Coach Cal, I just tell them to come out and play. Come out and play.
Absolutely.
You got to come out and play and get your confidence back. We've been hit in the mouth. I knew Tennessee was going to be tough, but I thought Ole Miss was a game we could win because we was at home. You got to win at home, and then the fans need to come out when we play Florida at 3 o'clock. Hope the weather don't mess people up. We need people in the seats. This team really needs the fans right now. We really need the support. And when you come to the Bud, people used to be afraid to come in that place. But when people come in and winning now, that's not a good sign. So we need the fans to rally around this team. And I still believe this basketball team can get it going.
What I worry about is the fact that your defense starts with your point guard. And Boogie is a above-average defensive player, but when he's carrying such a load offensively, that's got to affect your energy going after that ball handler, the primary ball handler, most of the game. And he's
and especially the minutes. We talked about EJ with almost 39 minutes and Boogie almost 37 minutes.
Ooh, that's too much. That's too much.
Yeah,
too much.
And it's just a lot of minutes, and Coach has to play those guys because they're really good, and we need them. So he has to play them. But you compare it to like Matthew Morrell, who's a guard for Ole Miss. He plays 27 minutes. He looked pretty fresh towards the end of the game. Even Sean Padula, who we knew was good coming into it, the Virginia Tech transfer.
Yeah.
He plays 35 minutes. But 35 minutes is not 39 minutes.
Yeah,
35 minutes is not 37. Even just a couple extra minutes. I'm not putting that on the coaches.
And plus, he's a freshman too. This is a new experience, and he's going to play a lot of games.
He's a young guy.
Yeah.
He's a young player.
Yeah. And that's a lot because he's a great player, and Sully, he plays both ends.
Yeah.
And that's what's amazing. Most guys that can score only want to play one end, but Boogie plays on both ends of the court, and that's what I like about him. But DJ and some more guys have really got to step up, and we got to start getting some touches. We got to start getting some easy buckets. We don't get easy buckets anymore. No.
Hey, football fans, the college football playoffs are here, and the Triple Option Podcast is your go-to source. Be sure to join Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram II, and I each week as we march closer to Atlanta and crowning a new college football national champion.
Well, I go back to you got to feel that other team. They got to feel uncomfortable in Bud Walton, where you get after them, the crowd gets loud, and you create turnovers, and then you create a run, you hit a shot. But they don't get. We haven't had in these first 2 games.
No.
You can't count the easy buckets. I don't remember any.
Where
I remember Ole Miss.
We're playing at home, 4 fast break points total.
Yeah.
At Tennessee, we had 8 fast break points. We were on the road. We were on the road against number 1 ranked team. We still got 8 points.
Yeah,
It'd been nice to get 8 points in fast break last night because we only got 4.
Yeah, I think teams are saying we aren't going to let Arkansas run. I mean, they're so athletic, and that's where they're going to get you in transition. And Ole Miss didn't do a lot on the offensive board. The thing with Tennessee is they not only got the offensive boards, they stopped us from running.
Yeah, they did.
And that's the thing I worry about Florida. I mean, that's a tall, physical team. And I watched them against Tennessee, and they let them play, and that was a brutal game. And Florida's physical. If you don't match up to them, they're going to just walk all over you.
Yeah.
I got 3 referees, not counting Ernie Murry, that I would like to hand pick to be in Bud Walton on Saturday, because all 3 of the ones in my mind, and I'm not going to say them so I don't get anybody offended, but these 3 guys, they will call a lot of fouls. And if we can at least get 2 of those 3 on Saturday, that will benefit us.
Yeah. Yes.
We need a lot of whistles, and if that will help us, because that will kind of make the game, I think, more suited for how we want to play.
What do you think the line will be on that game, the Florida game?
I just think the way I think Florida would be favored at least 10 points, 10 or 11 points.
Wow.
I do. Just because of the way they are playing. But, Florida played somebody in the score, what is the 100 to 106? Was that Florida?
Kentucky.
Yeah, that's when they lost to Kentucky.
Yeah, so they have a tendency to not play defense sometimes. They just want to outscore you. So
then they locked up Tennessee. How do you figure? I don't know.
Tennessee missed so many. They did play good defense on Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, I watched that game. Tennessee did get some looks. They just couldn't make it. And Chaz Lanier, who had the big 29 on us, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They locked him down. He couldn't get going. And you know what's crazy, Sully? Everyone talks about the 4 of 29 or whatever it was that Tennessee went from the 3. They made 2 of those in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
They made 2 of those 4 3-pointers. They'd have been 2 of 29 from the it was. And Tennessee just fell in love with launching that 3-pointer. But the Hogs going to have to be on the attack, as you were talking about earlier. We can't just settle.
And you mentioned you want to see them drive more.
Drive more, yes. I think Coach Calipari, he's talked about, I wanted to see him in attack mode more. And more, he wants to run some sets, but he also wants to get out in fast break. We know we got to get out in fast break. We're better in the open floor. We all know that. We see it. This team's not quite as good scoring just in the straight half court, but in fast breaks, they score 9 out of 10 times. It seems like get it out, push it. I mean, Duke Thero was incredible in the open floor. Billy Richmond, Boogie Flan, DJ Wagner. DJ's like a running back out there playing basketball. And so you got to get those things
Yeah, we got to see some wow plays. About the only one who generated any wow last night was Thero. He did it on his own. I mean, he went right in there and cut through, and then he had a one-man run there to get us within 4 points in the second half.
I'm going to tell you the turning point of the basketball game, and y'all may disagree, when Thero missed the dunk. And if you go back and look at that game, after
Chris Wooler and I were talking about that, and Thero played an awesome game, but that we go up 11 if he gets that.
Yeah,
that's correct.
And what a momentum changer that dunk is, too.
That's right, yeah. It looked like the air went out after that. And I agree. Ole Miss, Chris Beard was at ULR, and I knew him a little bit. His philosophy is nothing easy. So that's what he did to Arkansas. Even when we had layup, they was hitting us, making us, hey, we're going to foul you every chance we get. And I think when Coach Z said, when I saw him running off the floor at half, I said, in his mind, they played bad until the last media time. So he think now that he can win the basketball game. Yeah. And I think he came out the second half.
He withstood our blow. He withstood the
Hey, on the flip side, what did Arkansas look like leaving the floor?
Well, like most of the game, I saw a couple of our guys who run to the locker room, and everybody else just kind of walked to the locker room. But I don't think anybody on our staff or on our team thought, well, we just gave up a nice 9-point lead. We're going to get beat. I don't think anybody thought that, but I do think as we went to the locker room, we were like a little bit more what if. I mean, what if we just finished the last 4 minutes better? We got 7, 8, 9, 10-point lead.
Yeah.
What if we build on that 9-point lead that we had? We're up 15-16 right now. But instead, we're going to be in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Ole Miss just showed this is going to be a fight in the second half. We walked off the floor like a team knowing, okay, we got a hard battle on our hands. I think Chris Beard, he ran across the floor. He high-fived his big man, John Bowl, who doesn't hardly play, his 10th man, who blocked the shot.
Well, he realized they didn't
He
play.
ran off the floor, so he gave a high five, and he sprinted off the court. And I was like, that's a guy that knows he withstood our blow.
That's
He
correct.
thinks now. I don't know if Chris Beard thought throughout that first half that they could beat us. But he ran into halftime knowing that they could beat us.
That's correct.
I think he realized, too, that they didn't play real well and went to halftime tied, and they were going to play a lot better in the second half. And it almost felt when the second half when they got a 7-point lead, I'm saying, wow, I don't know if we can overcome that lead. And that's something that
we never really did. What did we cut it to, 4?
Yeah, I didn't feel that early in the season. When
I never got worried, but
when
now
the games
I do.
were back and forth.
Yes.
But when you get stuck in a half court, it seems like every shot is so important with this team. And there were no runs last night late, and I just think tempo is a lot. You got to, and it starts with defense. It starts with getting after them, forcing them a few more turnovers, and just creating a sense where they're not doing what they want in your arena.
Right. Like Coach Z and I always say, if you win at home and you still won on the road, you got to protect home court, and you got to make people think when you come to Budweiser, it's a L. But I think we are letting people come there and get their head up. The crowd tried to get in the game a couple of times, but we really didn't give them nothing to feed off of. We didn't give them. We had in the first half we gave them a couple of things. In the second half we cut it to 4, and the crowd tried to get in the game. And I think the big boy with the ugly shot that don't even jump made a 3.
Yeah.
With the ugly shot. Huh?
It was a 6-point game when he hit that.
Yes.
It was over.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And when you go in bad, shots like that go down.
Yeah. It's solely on the crowd, just because the people that were, people are talking about it. I've had people call me here on this Thursday about, why can't anybody come to the game? And here's the fact on the crowd. I was sitting there. We had a very big crowd. It was a sold-out crowd, number one. And number two, 8 minutes to go in the first half. It was a little bit late. There was a media timeout. And I looked around, and it was probably 16,000 in there. It was 90% full.
Yeah.
And Chris Woolard sits beside me. He's on the staff. And I said, see, it filled in really good. He said, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
But now at tip-off, there was not 16,000 there.
Yeah.
And there was more like 8 or 9 or 10,000. Bud Walton, folks, is 20,000. You can call it 19,200.
Yeah.
It was 20,000. You put 10,000 in there, it's half empty. Mm-hmm. So at tip-off, it was half empty, and it was half full. There's a lot of people that don't even draw 10,000 in games. But
exactly.
It was 6 o'clock. It's not an excuse, but at 6 o'clock, people have to work. It does impact our crowd. And I think Coach Cal and the staff a little bit at first were like, whoa, but they didn't have 6 o'clock tips in Kentucky. When I've watched Kentucky all these 100 years, their game comes on at 6 o'clock in Fayetteville because I've watched most all of it.
It's 8 o'clock.
If we weren't playing. Well, that's 7 o'clock in Lexington.
Yeah.
There's a difference between 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock. It's not an excuse, but we got people that have to work. A good friend of mine's in-laws used his tickets. And he said they hustled, and their plan was to get there 15 minutes early. With all the traffic of bringing all those people to the game and parking, they walked in. There was 17 minutes to go in the first half. So they missed all the warm-ups. They missed the anthem. They missed 3 minutes. And so there was a lot of people like that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Don't let anybody tell you.
Yeah,
down on the rock, don't let anybody tell you there wasn't nobody there.
Yeah.
There was 16,000 there.
Sometimes people forget what's going on the rest of the country. That schools are building smaller facilities like Ole Miss because they can't fill them, where Arkansas is just one of those just outliers that's putting 16,000, 18,000 in for these games, and
it's sold out, and you're still going 16,000 butts in the seats.
Yeah. Hey, and one thing I think that fans hate, and they hate hearing like coaches complain about the crowd when you're not playing well. Their message is
leave the crowd alone.
But this, and it's hard. This crowd has been used to seeing good basketball, so they react when the team plays well, and they're not not a starved fan base that is going to continually cheer when you're down 10 to try to get you back in the game, and that's just the way it is.
These fans in that arena have seen a lot of great wins.
Yes.
And
they'll see a lot more, and they're going to see more this year too.
Yeah. And Coach Z bring up a great point. We are diehard Razorbacks, but for a working guy with a family, it's hard to get there at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you live in Central Arkansas, you know, you got to get kids and a lot of things
Central
going.
Arkansas, you got to leave at noon.
You got to leave at noon, correct? So, and you know, it's just a hard. Wednesday is a hard night for a sold out crowd. Now Saturday, if the weather permits, I think they have may even have more fans because everybody want to see if we're going to bounce back against Florida.
Hey, Z, what do you want
and
to
our
see?
students, Ernie, will be back.
Correct.
Oh, that's big.
That's correct.
Now there was probably, I didn't ask the ticket office. I usually ask them because a lot of times we'll have 3,000 students request tickets because they, you know, we have the student access pass. They pay for them. But last night, our marketing and ticket people did a great job selling the student tickets to. They do that during Christmas break to outside companies, to high school teams, to whatever they can do to fill up the student section. We don't just let the student section sit empty for 5 weeks. But there was probably 500, maybe 400 regular students there, when usually there's 3,000.
Right.
And that section was still pretty much full with other people. Saturday, all of our students are back. There'll be 3,000 students in Bud Walton.
Hey,
they're generally louder.
Hey, as a former coach, how do you handle like the expectations for these young freshmen that came in and before they started conference play, they expected really to contend for a conference championship, but now they've been knocked back in these, both individually and as a team. And you're going into this third game Saturday against another highly ranked Florida team. I mean, how do you handle these kids? And you know,
I think for Coach, I think he's so good at that because he's had so much talent throughout his long coaching career. But I think the answer to your question is turning up the heat on the older guys, the Trevins, the Jonases. Adu's been doing great. Keep loving on him, pushing him even to higher heights. DJ's old, you know, a second-year guy. Those guys pushing those, but your young guys kind of having to love on them a little bit more. They don't need a lot of tough on them right now. These are freshmen in college, the 3 freshmen that do play in our top 9. And I think Coach is really good at that. I think he's great with the Boogie Flans and the Carter Knox and the Billy Richmond, because I don't think he expects them to hit a grand slam every time they go up to bat when the bases are loaded. But he wants them to be able to at least go up there and hit a single, drive in 2 runs. And so I think just loving on those guys and giving those guys confidence and trying to make sure their confidence doesn't drop, and selling that we still got everything that we want to do this season is still right in front of us.
Yeah. Another point I want to bring up is we got to shoot with confidence, and I think shooting is nothing but confidence. And we don't turn the ball over as much, but we don't make many shots. And so I think that's really what makes this basketball team not go. But if they start making shots, I think it'll be a different team. But if you're not making shots, I think your defensive intensity has to increase.
Yeah, that's hard. You know, like Z was saying, like Scott Edgar, usually when that offense, defense feeds off of offense, and when you're not playing good offense, you got to do something right now. You got to hang your hat on something. Right now, they haven't played really well offensively, so you know they have the tools. They're long, they're athletic to be a great defensive team. You know, you just can't have those lapses where you play good for 30 seconds, then some guy goes back door and he's wide open. And there's not much help defense, too. A lot of times when you lose your one-on-one battle, there's someone, like with Ole Miss last night, someone to help. We lose our one-on-one battle, it's over. Yeah. You know?
And that comes from trusting and believing and being where you're supposed to be. I think a lot of times our guys on the back get caught watching the game versus.
Hey, you were a shooter. When you went through a bad spot, did it ever affect your confidence?
No, what you got to do when you're not making shots, you got to get off of your phone, you got to get off of your iPad, and you got to get in the gym and put up an extra 300 or 400 jump shot. Coach Matt Zimmerman was the best at that. He said, practice is over. I remember when he was coaching at UAB, he said, Ernie, we'll go eat later. He said, but I got to make him shoot 300 jump shots. And that's what kids got to do. When you're not making shots, you got to go in the gym. You got a thing you can scan to get in the gym.
Yeah.
So you can go shoot whenever you want to.
Coach Z was making you shoot?
Yeah, not at Arkansas. But when he's at UAB, he make you shoot. Arkansas, too. Yeah, Coach Z is a good shooter. Good.
You got to put that extra time in. You're right. When practice ends, Bobby Portis never left when practice was over, ever. He stayed every single day, and it wasn't me. It was just me passing to him and pumping him up and talking to him. And we had a routine, and he did it every day. He was so motivated. And it would be 30 minutes after practice, and Bobby's Now he's finally finished. And he's in another level of sweat since practice ended. When you have guys like that, you can win a lot of games. That's why Bobby's
I went to one of Joe Johnson's practices when he was in the NBA, and he spent the entire hour and a half working on shot clock ending shots. That was it.
That's what you got to do.
That was it. Now, who is among the NBA leaders in hitting last-second shots? Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson.
But who would spend an entire practice working on those shots?
Right.
I mean, the great players work the hardest.
They sure do. And Sully, go down the street there and tell Little Rock Central we would like to order up another Joe Johnson.
Well, hey, we got one. I don't know. He got a chance. The kid at Little Rock Christian.
J.J. Andrews.
Great basketball player.
What a great kid, too.
Oh, great kid from a great family. We need him to put that Razorback
He's got those big hands like his dad, Sean.
Yes, yeah. He's smooth. He's very smooth. And, I mean, we got some great players, but I just think these guys got to fall in love with the game of basketball. An extra 300 or 400 jump shots a day would change your shot tremendous. They will make many more.
Oh, we're running out of time here, so I want to thank you, Z. Love your enthusiasm, your knowledge, and your devotion to the University of Arkansas, and we appreciate you, buddy.
You're welcome.
And
appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime I can be around.
Ernie,
yourself.
We want better times here. We can't go through this with the loss after loss.
No, hopefully our next show we'll be talking about they won 2 or 3 in a row.
There we go. Who do we have after? We got a pretty good stretch after Florida. It's some winnable games.
We go to LSU, and right now they've struggled more than anybody in the league, offensively and defensively. That's going to be a big game. Need to go to Baton Rouge. Won't be easy.
Yeah.
Need to go to Baton Rouge after Florida and beat those guys.
Yeah, we need to get our mojo back.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
You know,
Stop
maybe it'll
good.
start on Saturday.
Coach Z, go in that dressing room before the game and give him a pep talk.
Yeah. I think Coach Callan met me, but I sure like it.
Go in there and tell them what the Razorback really mean. Go in there and get them going. I know you can get them excited.
I'd send Corey Beck in there. One time Coach Anderson let Corey Beck come in and talk to our guys. It wasn't even, it was before, he laced into them good. Boy.
That's right.
He tore them up. Boy, he told them up.
Yeah.
This is what we got to do. I mean, he was speaking from the heart.
That's
with
right.
emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys, and we'll do it again here soon. But Z, you'll be our man there Saturday. You need to pull them through.
We'll take a 1-point win and 3 overtimes right now.
Where do we sign for that one?
I'll take it too, Z. That's
All
pretty
right.
good.
Thank you, Ernie, and
Thank you,
stay
Sully.
safe. I know you're reffing a game tonight in Arkadelphia.
Yeah. Hopefully I can make it.
All right. And thanks for tuning into the Hog Central Podcast.